A very good morning to all of you. I know it was tough after the party last night to wake up and come early morning. Uh, but as our panel is very committed, they all reached in time for the initial discussions. And topic that we're going to deal with today is dynamic changes and transformation happening in the education system in India. As you all know, that India actually has gone through a very significant change ever since we had the national education policy. And many forums I said that India eventually would be known pre national education policy and post national education policy, especially giving reference to our industry because before the national education policy 2020, we never had a level playing field. At least now we have a level playing field, and now it's up to us as an industry to really see where we actually take and how fast can we penetrate deeper into the education, policy implementation and make our presence felt right from the sixth grade to the 12th grade in the school curriculum, and then the higher education, and also look at how do we really bring in research and the complete development that we do in creating new tools out of India and the new technologies out of India for implementation of various art forms and make them more contemporary. So we have a fabulous panel here right now, and we are going to discuss today, these dynamic changes, how far we are, where we are, what are the challenges that we are facing in implementing them, and what are we really going to do. Uh, so my question to Shashi and Rashekar first, that they've been running, the training academies for more than 25 to 27 years, and have spent, giving jobs to more than thousands of people in the film industry, the animation, visual effects, and the design industry. What kind of changes do you really feel right now as the NEP, is getting rolled out? Uh, do you think, the formal education today, like you mostly get students after the 12th grade or maybe 10th grade, or many a times in our industry, we get people who have dropped out of education, formal education, and the parents say and the students some that I've dropped out. I know I'm a creative person, but I don't know what to do. So do you think those kind of phenomena are changing today? What do you think? I think let's start with Shashi.
Good morning to you all. Uh, Thank you, Asifa India and Tuaga, for having this panel discussion. And I'm extremely honored and humbled to be along with Ashish ji, our Raishekar Garu with Subhajit and Anand, because when we are talking about this particular topic today, we owe it to, or rather, a lot of, I would say, the effort has been taken by Ashish ji. I know because I've been working with the National AVGC policy and the kind of effort that has been put in by Ashish to bring this particular, I would call it as creative skilling into a vertical where we are today talking about, a sunrise sector. So thank you, Ashish, to be honored to be sitting with you for this panel. But coming to your question now, uh, Toons has been there for almost now. I think today we are entering into the 25th year.
Wow.
What when we started, now the biggest difficulty for us is getting the right creative skill talent, because when we started in 1999, we had to get thank you, we had to get the the animators or the production experts from abroad, and then onwards, from 2002 onwards, that changed, where we looked at our youth to get into as a creative field, and then start moving into animation as their career. Today, with the new NEP, I'm just taking that about 20 years back. When we go to a parent or somebody wants to do animation, it was very difficult, because first of all, now it has to be told, informed their parents, then they need to understand, then join, and then they start their journey. We have seen doctors, we have seen engineers, we have seen, I would call it as lawyers after finishing their graduates because of this passion coming and doing it. But thanks to the new NEP, the education policy, this particular skill, I'm talking about creative education, is going to be one of the milestones that we are going to look forward for the next 5 to 10 years, where we are looking this industry as sunrise sector. And the students who are sitting here, I'm sure the less of you, but this is your time where you can grab this opportunity if you have the right skill set and move into it. Because NEP has brought in, when we are talking about, let's say I'm talking about for Kerala state, because I can talk about that a little more authoritatively, because we help that skilling of creative education in that state. See, and when you're talking about animation, when you talk about creative storytelling, that particular option was not there in front of higher education board. But today there are two different organizations itself formed by the government driving these initiatives. I'm talking about skilling initiatives, especially with creative ones. That is KS, Kerala, it is Academy of Skill Excellence, and KKEM, Kerala Knowledge Mission. I've taken a direction where they have introduced creative storytelling at the high school level, and then moving forward, they are building, or they are creating a vertical, I would call it as a laddered approach, where they can reach onto the career that they're looking forward. So, that change has really brought in good number of students. I'm saying creative students. Earlier, once you want to get into creative education, then I need to look out ways to reach out, and then go to institutions. I know the efforts, because Rajshekhar is maybe, I'm talking about over 25 years of the the effort that is brought in individually to get this creative education. But now NEP is also helping us out, because schools have started implementing. So now parents are aware of this. Yes, there is a creative career, and they are much aware of their students or their kids, that they have these skills. Just put them onto it, because 9, 10, 11th, I've seen the state schools, they have introduced in center school, the CBSE schools have introduced this. And moreover, MESC, the Media Entertainment Sector Skill Council, which is the apex, I would call it as, for the the body for the Media and Entertainment Council, has taken this initiative way forward. Because they have, like, say for example, how do I know that I am eligible for, or not eligible, I would say, how do I test my creativity, or maybe how do I put my creativity? I would like to understand that. And many of them, they undergo the creative education test, but then there is something called as MECAT, which is introduced by Media and Entertainment Sector Skill, which is very I would call it as very effective. Students can test it out, they can try out, and there are various options they know, so which career they need to choose from. So right from building that, the model, the base model, where how can access my creativity, then get into what area of media and entertainment I need to be focusing on. What are my skill sets? Earlier, I'm just talking about why I talked about, earlier this was not there. And the post NEP, we are seeing that, that changes coming in, accepted by the skilling bodies, especially with, I'm talking about, like, earlier, we had the private institutions bringing this industry forward. But today, along with that, you have state universities, then private universities, deemed universities joining hand to take this and building a sunrise sector. That is what I feel strongly, sir. And, I feel that NEP, once it is implemented, maybe this is the time that, students will be looking forward to get into their creative career. Maybe another 5 years, they'll be reap the benefit, is what I really I feel so.
Thanks, Shashi, very well articulated. I'm going to come to implementation part a little later. But Rajshekhar Garu, in fact, you have been at it 28th year now.
25.
25?
Finished.
Yeah,
26th now,
26th
yes.
year, sorry.
Right, okay. Yeah.
But, 28,000 students.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed up the number.
28,000 students who passed out. And
It's
yes.
a huge number. Please give a big round of applause to him.
Thank you.
And I remember that, every time we came to hire people from Hyderabad, of course, we couldn't do without your help. But you also wrote a book about mapping the careers, like, what kind of career paths are there, and looking at that. But
Right.
do you think the national education policy implementing this education in school, you will get a
Yes.
better feed? What will change in life? What transformation do you see
Yes.
is going to happen?
Yes. Yeah. Thanks, Ashish, for this. And before we move, I think I should know who are all the students here. Like, can you please raise your hands if you are a student of animation school or multimedia school, college, anywhere? And who are the industry professionals here? Like, can you please raise your hand? Okay, so professionals are more than the students here. Like, so this panel is actually aimed at the students more than the professionals, of course, but the numbers are very less here.
No, we need
Still,
professionals to guide the students to take the right path. So
yes, yes, that's of course they have been doing it. Otherwise, this industry wouldn't have reached this level. Like the one he Ashish ji mentioned about this is that is a dream true come for us. Like the NEP, including these visual arts or creative arts coming into the regular education system. All these years we have been struggling to find out that bent of mind in among the students, but now at least during their fifth class, sixth class, seventh class, right from their early age itself, they can get a bent of mind. They can actually test whether they are fit for this particular thing or not. And once they make up their mind, they can easily travel through that other classes, and then yes, why not? They can come into these industries. They come with some exposure already. Like, so we, the major challenge what we face today here is the uh, involved raw material. Like, whoever is coming and joining us, whether they have the bent of mind or not, we really don't know. Somebody tells them that you go and do 3D animation course, they just come and try to do it, but at the end of the whole thing they want to do something else. So in order to avoid that, I thought, why not we tell them all the 72 skill sets and job roles available in these industries. That's where I wrote that book, because the day when I was doing the anniversary in a stadium, we have about 5,000 students in Saror Nagar Indoor Stadium. I could see so many faces there where they don't even know why they are doing that course. Let me tell frankly, because some people they just come and they just join, but later stage they will realize that this is not their cup of tea. Like losing a year of time or 2 years of time, money, effort, and unnecessary these things. Like, so, in order to avoid that confusion, I thought, in fact, the pandemic has allowed us to write that book. During lockdown, I spent my whole time on writing that book, and it is available on Amazon also. Exciting Careers in Digital Media, its name is. Graphic design, animation, visual effects, gaming, and web and mobile design, digital marketing. All these verticals, we have clearly decoded around 72 job skill sets. And coming to NEP, I could feel that as you rightly said, the implementation is where the thing comes, because policies are made in bigger rooms and AC rooms, and finally they have to go to the ground level. And people who are going to implement that, they should have thorough knowledge of what they are doing. That's where the challenge is coming. And the quality of the faculties, even 25 years ago, that was the same problem. Even today, after 25 years also, we are having the same problem across all academies. I keep in touch with different people in the industry, because some good guys they leave for production jobs, and you will be able to manage only the average. That's where the challenge comes again. And rightly, Shashi said that NEP should give a kick, actually, the right kick for the entire community or industry. I think the implementation thing, I think you will be going into that in the next question. Yes. Thank you. Thanks for that.
thanks so much, Rajshekar Garu. Anand, so we've seen a perspective coming from Kerala, from Telangana. Now we turn to Karnataka, then we go to Maharashtra. Uh, Anandji, you've been on both the sides. You actually run a studio and you also have a training academy. We normally have, whenever we have this discussion about skill mapping and, making skills available, the industry constantly, I call it a cry fest. This constantly are, cribbing about they're not getting the right kind of students. and the education that is being provided to them. I'm talking about education, not training here. Is limited or whatever. So how do you would normally, because running a studio plus an academy, you must be doing something right and trying to bridge this gap. How do you really do this?
First of all, thank you so much, Asifa, for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you so much, sir, and being like a panel with all
I think
great people.
This is on.
It's on.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir. So, I was in production for almost 20 years. So, the biggest challenge, we all know that it's so many students are coming out of institutions, hundreds of students every year they come. But if you see, are the industry ready? They're really not. As you said, we have to really do another training program, before even getting into production. That's another biggest challenge, actually. So, then we thought, how do we first of all, I didn't even know where the gap is. So we just get applications, we just reject them, and then where the gap is. Then we got into did a lot of research. Then I got to know that yes, there's a huge gap. First of all, institutions doesn't have a good instructors, because most of the people go to the industry, and who don't get job, they become instructors. That's where the problem starts, because they don't really have the industry exposure. Second thing is, who working in the industry already, they don't really see teaching is as a career, because there's a limitation in that. They might feel I make it stagnant if I do same thing what I do. I want to keep I'm running and growing, and also the scale how they grow. That's also very limited in education in a sector. So we thought, how do we bridge the gap? So that's one side. Second thing is the education. So most of the institutions, if you see, they focus only on the applications. Yeah, they don't really teach what is art. If you say art, there's a different medium watercolor, painting, sculpting. It's all medium, but art is art. Anatomy is anatomy. But here people think, okay, Maya. I know Maya, so I know everything. I can build everything. I know ZBrush, I can do everything. I know Houdini, they can everything. No. So the biggest challenge is how do you own your skills as an artist? How do you make your foundation really, really stronger? And then it's all about tool to execute it. So that's the biggest gap we found we had, because most of the time in the production we take so much of time to get work done because of the lack of understanding. They're really good, and the new age students, they have computers on the pocket actually. So they learn things so much faster. But it comes to execution, the challenge, because they cannot see they don't have the creative eye to see and then apply into the day-to-day job. So it's so difficult to get the work out of them actually. Then we thought, man, we really need training, and we used to do a lot of training in the production. And then we thought, okay, it's so important to make the foundation really, really strong in the school level itself. And once you get in the industry, you don't get a chance to learn much on the core skills. So we thought it's really important to make the foundation really, really stronger. So we had 1-year program of mixing traditional art as well as animation principles, because both are equally important. Because
So traditional art and animation principle, the storytelling principle, the grammar of storytelling, the grammar of lighting is we know that it's highly impressive. But I've seen many students and the parents coming with a list of softwares, and they will ask you whether you teach all these softwares. So how do you tackle that kind of a problem?
we have to justify them, because of course when you see the the brochure, it looks like an amazing menu. Oh, it's very value for money. So there we have to show the kind of opportunity what is in the industry. So we do a counseling to explain about how the industry works and what role they can do it. Because if a student want to learn A to Z, he cannot do A to Z. He can just do only one. And then we have to explain them how big the industry, how many departments are there, what all skills are required for each industry, and each department having its ocean. Whatever you take, lighting, it's ocean. So we have to really do a counseling to the parents and also to the students, and then make them clear and what is the career opportunities. Then they get clarity. On top of that, we do a live free class sessions. So before even putting him into texturing or animation, so you go through all the different departments.
Yeah.
And then you see what is really close to your heart. If you really feel, hey, I love colors, I feel I'm more connected with the colors, then you go to texturing. hey, high-low like movement of like characters and stuff. Then animation's right thing. So there we like really observe them and then like give them the direction. Hey, this is the thing. This is what you're good at. You go with it. Then they really see, yes, this is my like cup of tea. You know, and then they go for it. And then we really train them very well with all the foundations, and then we help them like building a portfolio.
Yeah.
But that's like really, really important thing, because more than everything, the portfolio speaks first, and then only company move to the next level. On top of that, we give a lot of test, the real test, because the student 3 years they take all the luxury time to build any piece of art. On top of that, a lot of cultural event, that this and all. If end of the year, if you're asking, they have nothing actually. And then we strongly work like a production. Since the production experience, we put a schedule for every week. There's a target, there's a milestone to deliver it, and then we give the ranking for everyone. Then they really see, oh, where I am and where I need to hit, and then they work really towards it and build amazing portfolio. And then the test, it really helped them to how to work really, really faster, because now the main the reason production studios don't hire freshers, the reason is they don't first of all, lack of skills. Second thing, the speed. No, they take 5 times, 6 times, much more than that actually. So there we help them to grow faster.
So my question to you is: suppose you have 100 students in a year, how many of them will you hire yourself?
That's a very good question, sir. So at least we're able to hire 70%. Of course, the number is huge, but that's how we set a target. And then during the course, we do a session every 3 months to see their progress report. If really see any problem with the discipline, first thing, we ask them to leave.
Yeah.
We don't want really in a business point of view, because we are responsible for every single penny their parents are paying to us. Same time, responsible for every student going to the company, because if I send a wrong student, company won't come to us.
Yeah.
So we take the responsibility, and then real time, hey, this we'll keep giving them the warning, and beyond a point, we have to let them go, because they should know where they're getting into it. It's all good to see animation. I don't read. I don't do a lot of theory and all. I'll be the really fun. No, it is fun, but same there's a challenge in delivering things. So you have to be very honest with that. Actually, if you really care about them, you have to be very honest with those areas.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
So coming to Mr. Sarkar, you have a huge body of experience with some of the world's iconic shows. As a producer, and also involved with education. If you really get to see the pyramid that India built over the last 25 years in the space of digital filmmaking and animation, visual effects, gaming stuff. Most of these people started from the very early, skills which were giving them, say, modeling or the roto or few of these skills. And then they start growing up the value chain. They start realizing in the faculty, okay, once you're in the studio, you work for 1.5, 2 years, you know that if I become this, then I get trained to do that. The challenge is that if we continue with that for a fairly long time, we will really, take a long time to grow up the pyramid. What's your opinion about, the dynamic changes and transformation that is coming? Where should we do the interventions with the university and other ecosystems by which we will be able to see the right kind of caliber of people, like kind of leadership within the studios? And we are a kind of a nature of business where the teamwork is required. So how do we really see that we actually cater to manpower from outside in every level of pyramid, rather than only growing from bottom up?
Okay, one very
The question is alarming.
yeah, yeah. So it's a very good initiative in terms of government of India working on a new national education policy. And the good thing is that government has realized that you don't need to waste 20 years of your life to realize what you want to do. I mean, if you had imagined that you were good in math, or you were good in science, or you were good in history or geography, that change. Yeah, yeah. Hello. So you could bring about that change at a much younger age in life, instead of, you know, waiting till your graduation to do a major in history or geography. Now, obviously, it's a digital age, and even schools have started incorporating animation as a vocational subject. So for us, our industry, what we are able to do was done even 100 years ago. Even 100 years ago, people were doing animation. What we are doing differently is because of the technological advancements that have happened over these years, where we have computer software that allows us to do something very fast and quickly. It allows us to store the data. It allows us, and every few years we were, about 10 years ago, we were working on 2K plates, then we were working on 4K plates, now we are working on 6K, 8K. As technology improves, we've been doing better and better. I mean, if you remember, we were using mobile phones, which if you took the mobile phone and hit somebody, that person would die. Okay, the mobile phones were like that 15 years ago. Nowadays, yeah. I mean, you will be probably able to do animation on your mobile phone after some time. I mean, but the thing is, typically my message to everybody is, do not fall in love with any art, any software, whether it's parents coming in with a list of softwares. Softwares are going to change every now and then. The emphasis always needs to be on the art, the skill, understanding the concepts very, very well. And the sooner a person can realize his potential, or rather interest, and me as an educator, like, I mean, it's a very simple thing for me to say is, I can take the horse to the water, but I cannot make him drink. So if the horse is not thirsty, I would not know. So if kids realize what their potential is, and me as a teacher, I would always guide my student to realize his potential at an early age. Now, if I feel that my student has creative in things, I would rather show him creative ways. Okay, you can do this. You can go to an art school. You can learn fine art. You can learn commercial art. You can learn filmmaking. You can also learn animation. So these are things which exactly the national education policy that is being implemented right now is going to help students realize their potential at a much earlier age. Okay, you know, I have seen students when they complete their 10th standard and they are a little confused. Should I go for science? Should I take commerce? Okay, little confusion there. Parents also really don't know. Okay, so sometimes they make a mistake. I know I did BCom. I learned animation in 1994. It started with graphic designing. I actually took a 1-year break from my BCom. I was in my second year BCom. I took a break. I said, Papa, leave it. This is something I'm in love with. I would want to learn it. I learned it. I learned a little bit more than my parents said, no, you have to complete your graduation. Then I went back and I did my graduation. So actually, I took a break from my graduation, learned animation, and then came back again. And since then, my life's changed. My first career break started with Rhythm News setting up their international operations in India in 2004. The first project I did with them was Chronicles of Narnia. I mean, the basic thing is the skill. Whether you know Blender, whether you know Maya, it does not matter to me. I mean, it's as good as, you know, I mean, for example, you are driving a car and you come to me and say, I have learnt on Maruti. I would still expect you to drive a Mercedes because driving is the same. If you tell me I use a Samsung, I cannot use an Apple phone, you would not say that, right? A mobile phone is a mobile phone. So exactly, a software is a similar thing. You have to be able to smart enough in understanding these tools, whether it is AI or whether it is Blender or Maya. Animation does not change. And yeah, again, the national education policy is going to help kids realize their potential at a much earlier age when we inculcate certain things with filmmaking or animation within the school curriculum. And yeah, going down the way, these education policies also we being from teaching or professionals, I would also advise the animation schools to, you know, because what we do in animation is a mix of art and technology. Certain things are very, very technical. For example, I know there, I mean, if you're doing lighting and if you're doing shading, now, I don't know if there is any institute in India that actually teaches how to write shaders. You're using shaders in Maya. They are the shaders which are inbuilt within Maya. You're using the shaders which are there in Unreal Engine. You're not writing a shader. Is there any school in India that actually teaches pipeline programming? Is there any school in India that actually teaches software programming or CGI programming for creating softwares like Maya or creating tools like Blender? So there is a big way for us to go. India has amazing talent. India has amazing talent. The entire world has realized our potential. Bang on, last year in 2022, 6 international companies have come and opened shop in India. A company like ILM has come and open shop out here in India. If India did not have potential, they would not have come. So your future is very bright. You are in the right industry, but a little bit more of hard work. And yes, it's I would say it's not just work hard, also work smart. Something available new, pick it up, learn, see how it can emphasize and help you. I mean, nowadays so much AI tools are coming. A few days ago, I came across an AI tool which helps script writers write their script much faster. So, yeah, I mean, there's a great way for us to go, and we would. I mean, it's very challenging. It's very exciting about what's going to happen in future, and yeah, I mean, I would
Mr.
love to.
Sarkar, you have not answered my question.
Yeah.
I said, in the pyramid, if you have to do the lateral entries at every level, how are you going to tackle that in the present form?
In the pyramid, see, we will need to work on those structures with the government. So there needs to be the professionals, the teachers, and the government of India. They need to work together. It's a big challenge. If you wanna, it cannot be said. How do we do it? We have to work towards in developing programs or curriculums which will, help us get there. Rather, we need to work on that. There is no shortcut process to that. I mean, there is a pyramid. I cannot really say that, hey, I mean, you did not learn the basics. Can you directly take a 10th standard exam? You would have to learn the basics before going to 10th. I mean, unless until they are like brilliant people who can, do math without a calculator. So there is no shortcut process to that, as I would say. We would have to work on that.
Anyway, I would like to pose that question to Shashi. You've also been involved with getting programs with the universities and with few other institutions, that we actually do a grassroots level programs, and then we do we do some of the programs are short term and some of the programs then go long term. So how do you really look at that? So the people who got into the industry, if they have to actually grow up the ladder, they have to come out and do some programs and come back to the industry. And the same goes with the teachers, because the teachers who have worked on say Life of Pi or Chronicles of Narnia will have to come back and teach how they did that, so that the kids are getting ready. So what are your thoughts on that one?
So before that, I'd just also like to add upon when, Anandji and Shubhjit was talking about, on the skill, the creative. One thing we have seen the studio is it's not about skill alone. It is about how about your soft skills. How about your, as a human, the value, the traditions that you're bringing into this industry? Because you're going to work as a collaborative effort, collaborative team for the projects. I've seen studios where, somebody coming and saying, no, I can't do this. I can't, these are my difficulties. No, it's about, how to work as a collaborative person. So your skill set about human, I'm talking about, the soft skill, the communication. I would also request that as students, please, encourage, build that up so that, while you're getting into your career, that will really help you to climb the ladders, speedily. At the same time, coming to this question, see, while we have teachers, when Rajshekhar Karu was talking about teachers are difficult that we have to get. Yes, it is difficult.
Why? Because, everybody aspires to get into the production. Now, we have programs where, like it's a short-term program or, directly linked with NEP. I can take a break from my education, continue with the industry, work in the industry, get the credits, then come back and do the completion of my graduation. Like I was just saying, Subhajit mentioned a great example that, he was pursuing BCom, he took a break, he completed, he got into animation, came back and wrote it. But now the advantage is, Subhajit, if it had been now, you will get the credits from whatever you have learned from the animation. You can come back and do it. So it's a time like you're saving and you're also working. The same thing goes with the industry professionals. Today, a media entertainment sector skill has gotten as recognition of prior learning. I don't know how many of you are aware, especially professionals. I may not have a basic, I'm just talking about, 12th, because in our studios also, basically 12th, because that is an industry standard. The creative right brain of yours and also the portfolio of yours will help you to get into this career. But now there are many of them, 15 years, 16 years, 18 years, 20 years working this industry. So now there should be an incentive for them. There should have been, for me to look forward what is there for me in this industry. But there is something where I can take a break, not a break at all. I can do it during my, while working in the studio itself. I can appear for a recognition of prior learning. I can get a government recognized certification, which is of great value because it is registered in the National Skill Development Portal, which will really help you. I'm a certified animator or a 3D modeler, rigging. There are at least about 32 qualification packs where you can appear for it and you get that recognition. So industry, it's not about those people or those who started off maybe years back. They can still come out, they can get the best, I would say, the recognition for what they've done for this industry and then, pursue further. So this will really help the people who are working in the industry because as Subhajit and Anandji was mentioning about, the technology changes, but yes, I can also go along with that, complete a short skilling, get that credit, link to my skilling, and then come back and continue with my studios. Or any other studios, they will be looking forward to hire you because you have got a certificate of prior learning. So this is something which the new NEP and the Government of India and the MESC, which is brought in as recognizing the skill talent that you have. So that is one thing. At the same time, the universities also is now, I'm sure with, Ashish ji may a touch point with that, the AICTE and UGC are giving weightage to the faculties. Let's say, for example, I'm a mentor in, I'm just saying, let's say, for example, a studio or maybe in an academy. If I have got a, I'm just saying I'm being in the industry for many years. Today, AICTE and UGC will recognize you as a mentor and, because one thing from AICTE and UGC is that, the basic qualification to get through and, being a doctorate, being a master's or MPhil, it's difficult in our industry. But we have seen the colleges, we have seen, especially Ashish ji, I went to Manipal, I would see those who have worked in Toons about, 20 years back, they are professors now. So I was wondering, professors, and then, they will know, the industry recognizes us and we are professors. Look at that transition. I'm saying, as a mentor, today I can look forward not only to be mentoring at the institute level, I can go, and get into the university level. I went to, I'm just saying, Assam, and I went to the Central University Assam. There also, department head happens to be ex-Tunisian. So I say, hey, very nice to meet you. Then he told, no, I wanted to get into teaching and I'm a professor here. So I asked him, then he told me, no, 5 years of working in this industry is recognized as Emirates faculty and, I'm there. Look at it. So now mentors has got a way to, get into the national scheme of mentoring and also the industry kind of thing. Because industry, they can take a break, come into education, they want to pursue because I'm sure this industry, many of them, they wanted to handle, I'm sure because I'm sitting amongst, two of them. He has worked in, maybe I'm saying, aspiring to be working in Dreamworks, 10 years. And, you would have led a very comfortable journey there. But, leaving that and coming back, mentoring students. Shubhajit working in great properties, now mentoring students. These are the mentors who will guide us and help the students to get into the industry and take this industry forward is what I feel.
So I've seen one more trend like this when I go to these universities and I see many of guys who work with us have now become professors.
Yeah.
They actually are pursuing PhDs at this point in time, and I don't see a reason. Like I know at least 10 to 11 people who have done PhD in animation now. People are doing PhD in visual effects. I think these numbers are there to grow. My question to Anand.
No, that'll be fantastic because now, see, it becomes, I would be happy like Dr. Anand, Dr. Shubhajit and all those
No,
things.
so
It really, it is.
Anand, my question to you is, where we face a problem because we are from the industry which is creative arts and performing arts. Animation is a performing art because it's acting. Rigging is, you need to really know a whole lot of choreography to rig. So what I'm saying is that we had challenges all the time because when we actually started the school curriculums and the university curriculums, the thing was that they said that you have to have 3 hours of written exam at the end of the semester. But if we have an actor or we have a painter, we have a choreographer, or we have a compositing artist or a modeling artist do 3 hours of written exam, they are bound to fail.
Very true, sir.
So how do you both handle it in your system? The assessment has to have different rules for us. It will be same for the sports industry.
Agree, sir. I mean, it was there in my graduation also. There, 80% failed. I'm from traditional background. The sculptors, painters, the amazing painters, the amazing sculptors. When you put in a theory exam, they fail actually. Because honestly speaking, they don't have that knowing that term, how to write, how to do that is very, very difficult actually. And honestly speaking, now it's not required to know everything theoretically. What is the tool? Hey, if you ask me, hey, where is this tool in Maya? What does it do? Honestly, I don't know. But when you open Maya and see, hey, this is it, I'll get it done. And if any new tools, now so many the softwares, they make the old tools put in YouTube. You should know what is the new tool. You don't need really know the tool. Hey, there's a tool in ZBrush. I know if you go to YouTube and check it. So that thing has to change. The theory has to change, put everything in practical. So even today, before we have a problem that I have to learn everything, remember everything, I'm able to write everything and able to teach everything. Now it's not required. Every time I see, okay, new ZBrush version is coming, I need to know what all the new options they have, what all the new tools they have, good. And if required, I just go to their website and check and apply it. So many, even in the company interviews, they fail because they know how to use it, but when you ask theoretically, they cannot do it. So somehow you have to come out of that old school method.
So
And
are you taking it, you're doing it in a practical assessment? What do you really do? How do you judge that the student is ready for show?
Yes, unfortunately, the universities are still relying upon the written statements and write whatever is the answers, question answer system that is continuing. Like the degree programs, what we are offering with Jawaharlal Nehru Architecture and Fine Arts University, it is purely a written test as well as practical test. And practical, both are equal marks are there. So normally we try to help them in the written area because they are not very good at writing. But the practical, they must. Because finally the studios, they look at their show reels and not the mark sheets.
No, so we have found a solution. We've gone and spoken to Mumbai University,
Okay.
Chitkara University and all, and we have turned 80% of your, assessment is going to be on your work that you deliver. And 20% is the written exam. That is also the language skills, your skills for, your history or geography or civic science that you need to take.
Yes.
So that's 20%.
Yes.
But all the skill part of examination or assessment is purely on your work that you are delivering and the teamwork that you are really doing.
It should be actually. It
Yeah.
is supposed to
No,
be
it
like
is like that. So
yes.
we have already
Some
convinced.
universities
So
must have.
I think we'll have to go and
converted. Yes.
change the university.
I
So,
think yes.
guys, actually, we are coming to an end of this discussion, but I would like to tell you that in education itself, we are coming into an interesting times where we have, been able to influence a large number of educational ecosystem to create a level playing field for creative arts, performing arts, design, and sports, along with science and commerce. At the same time, people will have to, like you do physics, chemistry, mathematics to go to engineering, you do physics, chemistry, biology to go to medical science. You would be actually able to carve your pathway right from the sixth grade onwards to get into creative arts, performing arts, design, sports, earth sciences, whatever you would like to do. And I think that's the biggest change that has been brought into through the national education policy. It's under implementation. The challenge is that some state governments have not accepted it and some state governments have accepted it. But as an industry, we have to still make an effort to go and influence the state boards and the state universities to actually look at our field, to be included and make sure that our people are able to get the formal recognition into the ecosystem of education and skilling as well, because education can actually bring you knowledge, it can actually bring you status, but the skills are the ones which are going to give you livelihood. So there has to be a combination of skill and education together. And that's why we say that the new education policy is very aware of this, that we are able to actually club education and skilling together to have the best output. And a big congratulations to the organizers of India Joy, ASIFA, and VFX for setting this up. Big thank you to Shashi, Anand, Rajshekhar Garu, and Subhajit Sarkar for finding time and spreading your wisdom and sharing it with all the students. And big thank you to this young lady here and her supporters at the council and all the audience for coming and listening to this wonderful session that we had. Thank you so much.